Hello and welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and tonight we wish a happy birthday to Prince Louis. You might have seen a video, a song that I composed for Prince Louis yesterday, and if not, well, I will leave you a link in the description of this video so you can check it out. But today, most important, on his birthday, all the Royal Rota was claiming, oh, Kensington Palace let us down because there was no new picture of Prince Louis for his birthday, and these people have no faith, and these people got what they deserved. These people got ridiculed by their own words when Kensington Palace actually released a new picture of Prince Louis, taken by none other than Catherine. I can imagine all the usual suspects trying to find something wrong with this picture, but you know how it is. That's the life when you have so many people thinking, I wonder why the grass is green. I wonder why the bushes in the back are green. Are that kind of shirts worn on this time of the year? That's the kind of things all these bad actors think. Conspiracies, Photoshop and all the like. But wake up, it's just a lovely picture with an amazing smile. And today is also St. George's Day as well. And maybe I will tell more about this by the end of this video. Something that I really did not know. But first, let's talk about a bubble that's about to burst at any given time. Samantha Cohen, an unflappable Australian and a former royal aide who survived 2 decades in the Queen's service, has let slip about her time tutoring Meghan on the subtle art of royal behavior. This was no minor feat, given Meghan's background as an ambitious Californian actress with a penchant for saying exactly what she thinks, a trait not widely celebrated in the whispering corridors of Kensington Palace, because it seems that Samantha Cohen's task was akin to convincing a peacock to blend into a flock of pigeons, because after all, persuading Meghan to swap Hollywood's dramatic flair for the palace's revered no-comment mantra was perhaps a stretch. The Queen herself might be found easier to teach corgis to curtsy. Well, that would have been worth watching. But Meghan's approach to royal life was reportedly met with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved to rainy picnics, culminating in what one might describe as an HR nightmare. And after the star-studded nuptials, which Samantha attended, no doubt ticking off her royal bucket list, she planned to quit, having stretched a 6-month stint into a marathon of 18 months, largely because nobody, and I mean nobody, wanted to replace her. But the merry-go-round of staff exits wasn't just a case of career progression, but allegedly due to the Meghan effect, leading to whisper tales of bullying so severe they could trigger YouTube's algorithm. One aide reportedly felt sick after encounters with the Duchess, a reaction typically reserved for anyone who has dared to taste her not-so-homemade strawberry jam. And since the palace locked away the findings of their investigations into the allegations, we can still only speculate. But it's Meghan. That's all we need to know. But now, I wonder why there's always someone that is complaining about Meghan. Maybe it's courtiers, maybe it's politicians, maybe it's journalists, anyone. It's at any given time complaining about Meghan. And right now, it was the turn for Lemonada Media to be complaining behind closed doors because they made this announcement that Meghan's podcast Arsewipes was coming to Lemonada as an exclusive after being downgraded from Spotify. You know, all that money invested for nothing for months and months of production to have just a handful of episodes. And Lemonada is angry because since Meghan had to rush her cooking project with Netflix, along with Harry's polo project with Netflix, and at the same time launch her almost non-existent American Riviera Horchard brand, then Arsewipes or whatever it's going to be will have to wait until 2025. And this is something that I had already predicted when she made the Lemonada move. How much time did it take for the first episodes to be around? And how much time we'll have to wait for the next episodes, I wonder, don't these people surround themselves with all these producers, all these production companies that could help them accomplish so much more only if they could delegate? And I shouldn't be talking about they. I should be talking about Meghan. Meghan should delegate to be able to be doing more, and that would be no problem of being able to interview one friend a week or every 2 weeks while she produces her jam and she doesn't have to do it herself. Or maybe she has a secret recipe from Doria. You know that Doria knows how to cook, right? Well, if you know what I mean. But that's the problem with them. I don't know. They want to just be out doing the headline things, doing the rounds in the press. And Harry's wildlife charity, African Parks, is facing allegations so sensational they might have a plot for another season of Breaking Bad, because it's all a bit too grim. This charity, where Harry climbed the ladder from president to board member faster than his fall from grace, is accused of adopting a few wildlife management tactics that are, well, rather questionable. And the latest jaw-dropping method involves something called the swing, which sounds like a rejected idea from a medieval theme park rather than a modern conservation strategy. It reportedly includes hog-tying a suspect, hoisting them into the air, and giving them a spin while whacking them with sticks. And yes, I had to include an image of a piñata, because otherwise this was not going to cut the family-friendly rating. And saving the obvious differences, that's how I felt watching the Harry and Meghan documentary. And I know, I shouldn't be making jokes about these kinds of procedures, but that's how I felt watching the Harry and Meghan documentary. And these claims come hot off the presses in a new book by Dutch journalist Olivier van Beemen. And yes, he looks like a Caucasian Pedro Pascal who apparently spent 3 years in what sounds like the plot of a detective series digging up the dirt on the charity. And his sources? A mix of alleged victims, self-confessed abusers, and rangers who probably now wish they're just taking up bird watching instead. The funny thing is that Harry kept saying that silence is betrayal in regards to his family. And now he has opted to remain silent as well. Well, it's his choice. But so it seems that both him and Meghan had their own bubbles about to burst. And now it appears that Prince Edward, the royal family's secret weapon, has mastered the art of being thoroughly decent despite finding royal life as constricting as a Victorian corset. As he gears up to lead Anzac Day celebrations, sources reveal that marriage, fatherhood, and presumably a lot of deep breathing have matured him, according to a royal author. And behind the scenes, Prince Edward is described as kind and self-deprecating, a rare royal blend. And his better half, Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, must be credited for helping him navigate those choppy waters of royalty without flipping the boat. And according to Sophie, Edward is the guiding light of her life, offering unsolicited advice like a true husband, while together they form this dynamic duo, juggling royal duties and speech notes, not to mention wrangling their dogs and assaulting the garden in their spare time. And I wanted to highlight this picture that caught my attention, which is one of the best that I've seen depicting their body language as a couple. With the genuine smiles and the mutually supporting postures, I know that so many of you are real fans of them, and I'm more than happy to bring them up on my shows. And also, Queen Camilla, in a cheeky nod to her late mother-in-law, sported some sparkling old-school bling during her jaunt to the Royal Lancers this week. Strutting her stuff at Catherine Garrison, Camilla not only took up the mantle as the Colonel-in-Chief of this dashing British Army regiment, but also decided to dive deep into the royal jewelry box for the occasion. And her father, Major Bruce Shan, a bit of a legend himself with the 12 Lancers during World War II, would have been tough to see Camilla rocking the military vibe. But let's focus on the real star of the show, that brooch. Oh yes, the brooch. This isn't just any old pin you might find at the back of your granny's accessory drawer. This glittering piece, featuring the rather grim skull and crossbones of the regiment, used to adorn the regal outfits of Queen Elizabeth II herself. But talk about accessorizing with a purpose. And the story of St. George becoming the patron saint of England is a bit like picking a favorite character in a medieval fantasy series based on a single impressive episode. St. George was a Roman soldier with a legendary resume, including dragon slaying and damsel rescuing. Never actually set foot on England, by the way. Yet he managed to snag the gig as England's patron saint. It all kicked off when English soldiers returned from the Crusades around the 12th century, all hyped up on tales on this St. George's bravery and heroics. His story of slaying a dragon and saving a princess made him a medieval superhero, a legend, the kind you want on your national team. And English knights began wearing the St. George's cross, as Nazi red cross on a white background, making it medieval England's must-have accessory. And by the time the 14th century rolled around, King Edward III was such a fanboy that he founded the Order of the Garter in St. George's name, making the saint an A-lister in England. His popularity peaked when he was officially named England's patron saint. Essentially, St. George got the job because he was the superhero that the medieval water cooler couldn't stop talking about. He became this symbol of bravery and chivalry, qualities that the English really vibed with, even though his connection to England was about as thin as a dragon's whisker. But Rogues, I would love to know what do you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and remember, much love and bliss.